Welcome everybody, this is Game Over. This is my first FIFA video. This will show some useful tips for FIFA Pro Clubs. Hope you enjoy. On this first clip, the opposition team has the ball. They start moving the ball forward and you see Donny on the left. He's in an okay position at the moment. He then starts tracking back and that's good of him as he just pushed forward. However, instead of trying to go in front of the attacker, he goes to the outside of the attacker. At this point, they play the ball through and they score straight away. Try not to force the play. Keep possession and play it back if need be. Try to remember the formation you're playing so you can pass the ball back to the relevant teammate. From the goal kick we get the ball back. As you can see, our left mid Donny is in a good starting position. As the ball gets played forward to Tricky, our right mid, Donny goes beyond the forward line. Tricky should pass the ball a lot quicker. He holds onto it for far too long. If Donny had stayed wide left, almost aligned with Tricky, Tricky would have the option to play the effective cross-field pass. Instead, the opposition go on the attack, play a through ball, and they were actually quite unlucky. A great forward will lay off a pass to get everybody else in the attack. Donny, our left mid, now starts the attack rolling. Redeeming himself does exactly what he should do and drive towards the opposition's defence. Tricky in the meantime is an ideal location to receive a pass from Donny. Tricky, our right mid, should drive to the byline for a cross or pass back to Donny. Instead he chooses a less efficient through ball to loft the ball into the box. Luckily the opposition defence have trouble clearing the ball. Our forward Peds fails to hit the target. Here you see that Tricky should be tracking back and anticipating the opposition's attack. If he was at this point here already, he would have stopped that. Donny, our left mid, has tracked back and ends up actually getting the ball. Running with the ball isn't the most effective way to get to the goal. Look up and see the right pass on. Receive it back when you get into space. The options are now limited as the teammates are now spread apart. The ball gets played to Jay, where he has difficulty in crossing the ball into the box. From the throwing, I hold up the play and watch for an opening. I see Peds and play him through. Unluckily there's a random in his way and he tries a through ball there. From the resulting throwing, Peds actually finds some great space and crosses the ball in, but just a bit too close to the goalkeeper. We clear the ball from a cross. Again, a great layoff by Peds, our forward, to Jay, our playmaker. Here, he should be playing the ball straight back to Peds, but he plays the ball to Tricky. As you can see, Tricky isn't actually on the shoulder of the defender. The ball shouldn't have not been played to him. This next clip, I pass the ball quite nicely. You see Donny, our left mid, he's marked, but he makes a lovely move and gets released. He then passes to Peds, who probably does the best move of this video. It's unappreciated how good this is. He holds up the ball and brings everybody else into play. Peds' through ball was probably supposed to go to Donny, but ended up to me instead. This resulted in a counter-attack. They won a penalty and now they're leading 2-0. Here you see Tricky making great space for himself. He then passes a delightful ball to Jay, who should have passed the ball straight down instead of looking for the ball forward. Here, Jay, our attacking mid, should be playing the ball straight down to myself, as the other options are blocked by the opposing defenders. From the goal kick, we win the ball back. It goes back to Jay, our playmaker, and this time he actually finds the right pass, passes the delightful ball to Donny. He should either play it there, but actually picks the right pass and plays it back to Jay so he can play the through ball. Unluckily, he gets tackled by the defender. This next clip shows Peds, our forward, should have really played a 1-2 with myself. Bringing it down here, he would have then made the run and I would have played him through. Instead he drives, chooses the wrong pass. When having possession deep in your own half, your players are expected to track back. Here on the radar you can see that Tricky's too far forward. You can see Donny at left mid free. When I pass the ball, defender comes onto screen and collects the ball. I could have passed it to that player there instead. Donny though, his position should have been where the X was. Now again, if you look at the radar, Tricky still is nowhere to be seen and I have to play the ball out. From here they get a throwing and almost score. And then finally the half-time whistle blows. The second half begins as bad as the end of the first half. Here I should really playing a simple ball, but instead I go for an extravagant pass to Tricky our right mid. Luckily I track back with the attacker and stop his cross from going into the box. From the opposition throwing, Donny, our left mid, wins the ball fantastically. Peds plays a through ball to myself, but I don't press the A button back to Donny quick enough. They go on an attack, try to get into the box, and then I get FIFA'd by somebody else, giving away the penalty. 3-0. From the resulting kick-off, you see the ball played back to our playmaker Jay, and then back again to him. Here, Tricky's completely in the wrong position. He should be at right mid, wide, trying to receive the ball from there. He gets repossessed, and we lose the ball. From a long throw-in, Peds and I play some good interlinking football. From here, we all rush towards the box and are very unlucky not to score a goal. Coming out of defence, Jay does well here to actually come and collect the ball. He then plays a through ball, what should have been an A button pass. End up losing possession. From the throw-in and after a bit of commotion, Jay picks the ball up in a good position. When he passes the ball to Donny, Jay as a playmaker shouldn't always be running forward. He should stop still at that X point. When the ball's actually played to Jay, it gets intercepted and we lose possession. It's important to look for the ball instead of always running. Again, tracking back is very important. Here you can see Tricky is in a good position as we're pressing the ball. Here on the radar you can see where he's standing. When the ball's been played up, he goes out for a throw-in. You can still see Tricky standing there. He still hasn't made a movement, and only now does he make the movement for the throwing. He should have been there a lot quicker. You can see now that Tricky and I are actually tracking back. This closes the opposition's attacks options. It then goes for a throwing and they receive the ball. Tricky's still there in a very good position. He goes in for a sliding tackle, but because he's actually tracked back, he can now start the attack off. He then plays a good ball to myself and I play the wrong ball. From here, Peds, our forward, should play it down to Donny. Instead, he holds onto the ball for too long and loses out. We lose that game and we start a new game. From here, we get the ball out and you can see our forward Peds. He could play a extravagant ball to the forwards, but instead he plays the simple ball. This causes a triangle effect and allows us to break forward in numbers. Here we're very unlucky not to score. As you can see from our next clip, Step J's in a great position because he's trapped back. Here he should be actually playing the triangle ball, but plays a through ball down to Peds, our forward. If he plays that ball to myself, I would have then played in Peds in the far superior position. Peds, our forward, wins a free kick and I'm told to go to the back of the post as being the tallest there. From this free kick, I'm positioned to receive the ball from a long cross, however it goes short. The ball breaks for the opposition team. You can see here Tricky stops running Again, he's not tracking back, and I need support from my players. I luckily find Jay, who brings it down beautifully, but Donny should actually stop still and receive the ball instead of pushing forward. If there are players around you, try to release the ball as quick as you can instead of losing possession. As you can see here, Donny passes me the ball with an over-the-top through ball, where a normal A button pass would have been sufficient. Tricky on this occasion does actually track back. He wins the ball after losing it, but then finds some great space on the other side of the pitch. From here, I should actually play it back into the centre. I play a through ball thinking that he's going to use his left foot, but he actually uses his right foot. We get caught in possession and they go on the attack. This one's all about space. Step J, our left mid, picks the ball up, passes it to Peds, and there's a huge gap in the middle of the field. Jay's clever enough to see that and runs straight there. He then plays a delightful ball, and we're unlucky not to do more with that. This one's all about options. We get the ball back and Tricky receives the ball. Here he should be playing it wide or coming back to play it back to attacking mid Donny. Instead, he keeps the ball and we lose possession. This time it's the left mid on the opposition wingers. You can see him there, but he should be actually on that guy who's crossing the ball in. You should always look for available players. Here the ball drops nicely to Jay, and instead of looking for those players, he hoops it up, and straight away we've lost the possession. 0-0 so far. We tried to start the second half a little bit brighter. We start passing it around with a bit more confidence. The ball then lands to my feet, and at this point I should be playing it straight down. Instead, I choose the wrong option and we end up losing possession. The ball lands lovely to Step J in a great position. Instead of looking at the radar when the set piece was being taken, he hoofs it up and misses the rest of the teammates in front of him. Here you can see Peds out of position, and then Tricky becomes the new forward. With two strikers, it's always good for one of them to drop and one of them to run. Instead of me running forwards, I hold my run and pick up the ball. This allows Tricky to make that run and me to play a through ball. He's very unlucky here not to take a shot. On this next clip you can see Donny and Tricky not in defensive positions. After a bit of a scramble in our penalty box, Donny receives the ball and comes out with it and passes the ball to Tricky. I should be in a better position right now to receive that ball from Tricky. Instead, the ball goes wide and then goes out of play, and we end up losing possession. Here the opposing team uses the true force of the triangle to get past our line of defence, but then we get FIFA'd. As an any, I can't really control my player too well, so you can see here Tricky is in the wrong position. He can help me by moving out wide. The ball goes over my head where I could have won the ball, and Tricky then picks the ball up. He then loses possession. Tricky does actually fight for the ball back and then releasing the ball forward. Great ball over to Peds, and he's very unlucky not to score. This next clip is all about good counter attack. Jay receives the ball, plays the ball over the top to Peds. The ball lands to me and I just smash it into the back of the net. Simple. This one's a bit of a pet hate for me. Too many people use the through ball. Instead of using the through ball here, we use the A button and it would have come straight to me. Instead, we lose the possession and they go on a break. On the loss of possession, they have a throwing, break quickly, get the ball into the box and score their second goal. A bit of frustration kicks in here with Tricky. He receives the ball and he should be looking up to pass the ball to myself. However, he ends up losing the ball and playing it out. Here it's all about sublime finishing. Pick up the ball and play it around. We pick Donny, who plays a great ball over, and then we just see a class lob. Game finishes 2-2 on the 19th minute.